And then after the high stops, there's hunger. And when there's hunger, there's suffering when there's not an end to the poverty. Now, and then there's these other supporters who disregard Gandhi and go straight for the Karl Marx book for communism. They go for the anarchist dilemma. And they cherish the tribal manliness and the power of the women and the mothers with their youngsters. They make poetry. They speak words. They have parties where they all have sex and they make art. And then they paint. And they draw their graffiti. They write for the masses. They get the mob to be fantastic. And they all share coffee. And they all eat from the Soviet, who's got the old Stalin symbol on their building, and raise their fist to Mao in China and say to Russia, "We are your friends." All while saying equality, rainbow flags, and magical unicorns falling from outer space. And the Mexicans will pick their food. The Peruvians will give them their shaman. The Chinese will make their headphones. The Russians will give the vodka with bread. The Europeans will encourage their comrades, their buddies. And anybody who speaks up and says, "Oh, goodness," will be declared incompetent, killed, murdered, thrown in a ditch and buried, forced to kill themselves like Walter Benjamin did when the Nazis were coming to kill him for being a Jew. And there will be no star to hang. There will be no God to pray to when they come knocking on the door, when they come kicking down the wood. To enter the dwelling, they need to inspect where there's some noise causing distress for the grandmother and the grandfather and their sister's aunt's elder child who needs to have their flower and not a promise. Minimalaria, in the whole communist, Marxist, socialist studies part of my education and in Bellingham, Western Washington University, was one of my favorite books until Christopher Pavsek came from Canada. and I adored Christopher Pavsek's movies. He was an experimental filmmaker and was a described self-environmentalist, communist, card-carrying member. Brian Selznick also came to our class. Kaveh Asghari, our professor, also shopped in the grocery store with Barack Obama, Mr. Former President, who was at the University of Chicago when my favorite professor and my mentor shopped for groceries. And Christopher Pavsek, Professor Pavsek, called the book from Antonio Gramsci, from Theodore Adorno, the Bible, for him. Now, and there's no difference from what the man said then and what everybody says now. Everybody wants this infinitely updating consciousness where they never get bored, they never get quiet. And everyone follows the rules for silence. And all of those who don't abide by the obedience, restrictions, and limits get taught and fed the food for their cause. Indeed, their law. The same tactics, the same strategy to listen and find out, oh gosh, who's talking too loud? Oh God, is someone causing a problem? Oh, we gotta get our lighter. We gotta go form an alliance. And start surveillance now. Humans finding parts of consciousness, the shadow, the image, and deciding those are more important than the living, the breathing, speaking, and energetic face, feet, and hands like Jesus. Hands Jesus had on the cross. The hands in a jihad war from warriors and soldiers who don't want to be told how they have sex with their partners and what their partners are allowed to do now. And any disagreement and any obvious explanation provided exceeding the delicate limits will initiate a racist, white supremacist, stupid, and ignorant beginning, a start, to the eventual transformation, and often tragic conclusion now. What I'm describing in this example can be taken apart 1,000, 100, 1,000,000,000,000 mathematical, dimensional, quantum, physical, ethnically, dialect, linguistically, language, and letter with a word and a sentence with a grammar. And there can also be parts of what I said now missing, vacant from view. From what gets heard in the ears now. And the speed which with and the velocity time has been made to go now will wear out any dissidence, and the cognitive dissonance will be disregarded as a swear word, a face smashed with a hammer, a firework exploding outside of a window on a weeknight, and early next morning, glass on the floor where the kids have to cross the street and go somewhere else now. And lastly, there's the visual component. The type the inches, the clothing, and flag. Carried into battle during World War II. Held with a fist during the Iraq and Afghanistan war. And hugged at home during the Gulf War by families, mothers and wives, husbands and friends. Burned, set on fire, and made illegal. Said to be the wrong choice of colors, the ineffective layout of the design, and in need of destruction now. There's no happy, exciting, and easy explanation to say to children or kids growing up now. They've already got the internet to give them what they need, their families and their communities to provide for their needs now. The end.